Welcome to another edition of Broken Not Shattered. Today, myself and my co-host, Obi, who's in Lagos, will be addressing some very serious issues. What happens when you've made plans and made anticipations for a particular change in your life, and the circumstances begin to look as if what you had hoped for was not coming to pass? Do you give up? Do you keep on believing? We agree that the best thing for you to do is to keep hope alive. You are welcome to this special edition of Broken, Not Shattered. Welcome to all our guests all over the world, wherever you are. You are welcome to this special issue of Broken Not Shattered. I'm your host, Ike O, and my co-host, Obi, who is in Lagos. Obi, how you doing, buddy?
Um, just trying to be fine. Let me see it as it is. I'm just trying to be fine. Just trying to manage myself. But all the same, we're good. We
For
trust God.
those who haven't, who are not sure about why Obi is just trying to be fine, um, yesterday, Nigeria, which apparently is my ancestral nation, that's where my family is from. We are Nigerians. Went to the polls yesterday to vote for a new president. Um, Nigeria has been begging and calling out for change, especially after the last 8 years. Now, this is a non-partisan platform, so we don't indulge ourselves in politics or political parties or political individuals. However, we stand for equity, justice. We stand for fairness. We stand for the rights of the people, inspiring them, giving them hope where for the hopeless, and also giving a voice for the voiceless. Yesterday, Obi and I took out time and went out because he was out there standing in line to vote for his candidate of choice, and everything looked pretty calm and good. And then all of a sudden, we noticed that there was chaos that took place. And the chaos broke out shortly after we went off line. Am I correct, Obi?
You're correct. But
And
I
so
don't want to use I don't want to use the word chaos. I want to call it as it is. The thugs attacked the polling center and destroyed the things. So if I say chaos, you will look as if some persons had issues, started fighting, and then or maybe as a result of quarrel or what. No, there was a clear attack on the polling center, and they destroyed the ballot boxes and made sure they scattered the election and then ran away.
so you were actually there in person, just waiting to vote. Am I correct?
Yes, like yesterday, I actually went out to exercise my civil right, my civic right, as a citizen, my vote. The annoying part of it was that I left my house very early. I left very early, and I was there before 8, and I was there um till 4 p.m. And
Wow.
even after they destroyed the police center, some of us still stayed by. A good number of individuals still stayed back till about 5 p.m. in the evening to see if the election will continue. But no. So there were a couple of things that maybe happened in the election, which made it look as if we're not that fine. What we were promised was not what we saw during the election. We anticipated um, a heavy security on ground, but the way we saw the security wasn't as we anticipated anyway, because we thought they were going to be on ground to the end. And then the electoral commission also promised, that there's going to be a real-time update of what is happening on the polling
Correct.
centers,
Correct.
dating the votes as they come. But the reverse, became the case. We discovered that most INEC officials manipulated the results. Some made excuses. There was no beavers. Some said their beavers wasn't working. Some said there was no network. There were a series of technical issues that they came up with, and that jeopardized the election process. We went out to vote with the intention that the process is clear this time and was going to be very transparent. But somehow it turned out to be the usual thing. So it was quite devastating.
Wow, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I know that um, everyone that I've spoken to, all the messages I'm receiving, because I have a lot of friends who are very much involved in different perspectives of the political spectrum, and I've reached out to a couple of them. Some of them have reached out to me. It is sad that the effort and anticipation that the people have hoped for to see
Yeah,
change come into our nation, or the country of Nigeria, and didn't go as planned or hasn't gone as planned, because as we speak, they still haven't announced the results yet. The Independent Electoral Commission, which I believe that's the INEC, right? Um, they have a chance to fix this and make sure that things are done right. Because if thugs show up at the center and scatter that center, and that's the end of it, then all it takes to destroy is just a bunch of thugs who never get arrested, right? They just go up there and destroy everything, and that's all. That truncates the billions of dollars that was spent in getting this whole thing done. There has to be a way to enforce the law that says
yeah,
that if you actually show up at a polling booth and disrupt the electoral process, there will be some form of arrest and a penalty that you might have to pay. Either you go to prison or you pay a fine for that. But if people are
yeah,
doing this and getting away with it, then there's no need. There'll be no need for them to hang on. Do you understand? There'll be no
sure.
need for them to hang. For them to actually make sense of the whole thing, there has to be a way to enforce those laws. And from what you're saying, no one is enforcing those laws, Obi.
At all.
No one's those laws. Wow. It's not over yet, and so we have to keep hope alive. And
Exactly.
when we will look at ways to keep hope alive in a situation like this, and make sure the voice of the people are eventually heard, because the people went out there to speak, and they can only speak with their
Yeah,
PVCs.
yeah,
You don't want them to take up arms. You don't want them to go to the streets and start bringing destruction. So they say, okay, we'll do it in a civil manner, and the civil manner is to go to the polling booth and just vote. And when you
yeah,
go there and vote, and then your vote is not counted, then you're actually calling for something much, much bigger. But we're not advocates of destruction. We advocate peace. And I hope that they still have an opportunity to get it right. And I'm told that some people are actually voting today. So that means at the end of the day, after all you went through for a whole year plus to get your card, you couldn't vote.
exactly. And speaking to that, this is one of the annoying things. The process of getting myself as an instance. Um, my registration was in another state, and when I relocated to Lagos, I needed to re-register. I
Right.
mean, bring back my registration into the state of residence so I can vote. Now, it took more than 6 months for me to get my card. It was quite a very rigorous process. I was told more than 4 times that my card was not found, that I should come back again. I escalated again and again and again, and finally I got it. You know, having taken that stress, of getting your card, you're believing, okay, at the end of the day, I will have the opportunity to exercise this right, and then you never, you didn't see it coming. Um, the funny thing is that I don't know if another election will be conducted, because like those of them who obviously had problems, you know, some of those places were, the elections were, extended into today, and they've actually carried out the election, but nobody mentioned about my unit and some other unit as well.
Well,
So
as we
it's
speak, the last time I checked, they're actually calling the results for Lagos, which means that they've calculated everything they have and they're moving forward with the ones that they do have. And I think they must have targeted areas where they felt that the demographics in those areas are not of a political affiliation, and then they'll just destroy those places and keep it moving, which is very sad because in the next 2 weeks they expect you guys to go out again and vote for governor.
exactly.
I don't know what the turnout on that is going to be, especially in places like Lagos if you're having this kind of confusion. But we'll be back in a few minutes, Obi. Let's just take a short break and then we'll come back and then we'll discuss on how to deal with hope when it appears that hope is completely lost. Welcome to Broken Not Shattered. This is your host, Ike Obebili, and my co-host, Obi Ginikawa, who is back in Lagos, Nigeria. Obi and I were talking earlier on about how to deal with them. Obi, come, let's just see for those who are watching now across different various platforms, and those who might be watching later on. We see that all the time. People just come in and plug in and watch with us. How do you deal? Take it away from the political arena. Take it away from Nigeria.
Yeah.
How if someone has planned their life, you've literally planned your life. Let's just use marriage for example, or business, or people relocating from one part of the world to another part of the world where they believe they're going to have greener pastures, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
someone takes off from Ghana and moves to the US or Canada or to the UK with anticipation, with a lot of hope that things are
Yeah.
going to work out for them.
Yeah.
And where they were before was good. It wasn't that bad. It was good. But they felt that they had a better chance, for whatever reason it is, to move into a different arena. What
Yeah.
happens? What happens? And then they get to that place and it seems as if they're having a setback. How
Okay.
do we encourage people that go through that kind of stuff, Obi? How do we inspire?
Okay. Okay. So when you said that, um, somebody came into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The man called Abraham,
All right.
and then the scripture said that Abraham, God said to him, "Leave your father's house and go to a
A land
place,
alone.
land where he doesn't know."
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine a man taking a journey in fertility. What can you tell your friends? What can you tell people who believe in you? You're leaving your comfort zone. You're leaving a land where you have inheritance. You're leaving a land where you have a say, to a place you don't even know. You don't know what the topography looks like. You don't know what the environment looks like all around. But he took that journey. Now, fast forward it. Did Abraham succeed? Yes, because he believed. Now, why did I reference Abraham? He believed. There was a belief system that kept him going.
Correct.
And so in this life, we must have that belief system that will keep you going. I will always make reference to the scriptures and what I have believed in the time past. That so long as there is life, there is hope.
Right.
And so you must have this belief system that gives you that understanding to go. There must be something that gives
Yeah.
you that
Yeah.
understanding
That
to keep
that
going.
keeps you going.
Without knowledge, it is difficult to survive that. So if you have the understanding that once there is life, there is hope. I've also shared this story of a man called Mephibosheth here, who was a crippled man. who almost have lost hope, but because he was alive, he was remembered. David said, "Is there any man? Is there any remaining of the house of Saul that I might
Jonathan.
show mercy, show kindness to my friend Jonathan?" And then they said, "Yes, there's a crippled guy that is standing in his house," and that was how he came. Now remember also that the scripture said that a living dog is better than a dead lion. There were lions in the lineage of Saul, but they were all dead. What was remaining was just the dog. Forgive me to use the word because he was almost an outcast. Nobody, they felt he was of no value because he was crippled.
Right.
But that day, his own deliverance came. So you never can tell. Anything can happen provided you are alive. My father will always tell me something. He will say, keep walking. Whichever way you choose to move, move. You can choose to crawl. You can choose to run. You can even choose to, whichever way, but let there be a movement. Over time, you will look back and you discover that you've crossed the line.
Wow, that's
Keep
very
your
powerful.
life.
So for the person who's listening right now, the word is just one: keep hope alive by staying alive. You gotta
Like
stay alive.
You gotta
And
stay
when I
alive.
say alive, I'm not just saying existing. You have to live. If you're
Yep.
listening to me right now and we're speaking to you, I'm saying stay alive. There's no need checking out when you haven't gotten to the finish line yet.
Yes.
You're not the one who started the race. You will not be the one to finish it. So
Yes.
just keep moving and just keep on trusting that change is on its way. It might
Yeah.
take a little longer than you planned, and that's fine, because Scripture also says that many are the plans of a man's wishes and desires, but at the end of the day, it is the counsel of the Lord that will prevail. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
something in Revelation. So the
Yes.
counsel of the Lord will always prevail over Nigeria. The counsel of the Lord will always prevail over your life. The counsel of the Lord will prevail over the United States. Wherever you are, it is God's perfect counsel for you that will end up prevailing. And if you
Yes.
believe that you are indeed, truly, and honestly created to do great and wonderful things, you are made in a wonderful image, an image filled with wonder. The word wonderful means that there's a lot of wonders in you. You are full of wonder. If you are made in an image full of wonders, wonders is like all of a sudden something just changed in your own favor, then keep on living. You could hear me, you could see me. I'm speaking to you right now. Keep on living. Don't keep on existing. I want you to live. Literally say to yourself, hey, Joe, I have arrived in this town. The law
Yeah.
of this town would favor me, right? I have seen situations in my own personal life where the laws of the land change in my own favor. You will go into the meeting, they'll say to you, we haven't done this before. We haven't had a situation like this before. You know, we haven't had somebody like this before, but they will change the rules of the land in your favor. That is an indication to you that God is on your side and that his plans and his purpose for your life can never come to naught until they are completely fulfilled. Whatever he has said to you, keep on living, keep on trusting, and like Obi said, keep on believing. You just have to keep on believing until you cross that line. Even when people don't believe, it's okay. When I was coming to the United States of America, I just got married as a young guy, and I went to my pastor at that time, back in the UK, and I said to him, hey, you know, I'm actually thinking of relocating to the United States, right? And I know he had good intentions because he had lived in America and had his own
Yeah.
very experience. He told me straight up, he said, Ike, you're making the wrong move. If you go to America, you would not succeed. If you can't do, if this is the place for you in London, this is where you are, right? He meant it, he meant well. But also I had heard from God who says, hey, this is a land that you don't know. I need you to pack your bags and get out. And I did. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
As long as you are in God's perfect will and he has you in the palm of his hands, nothing can take you out. No one can take you out. But however, you can slow yourself down by the way you think. If your thinking is not right, then there's a problem. I had a post I put out during the week. I said, you cannot outrun a faulty belief system. You cannot outrun it. If you have a poor image of yourself, it doesn't matter what someone says to you, you will always see yourself through the eyes of that poor image. If you have lack of self-confidence in yourself, woman, if you have lack of self-confidence in yourself, man, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what anyone else says, you will always see yourself with a lack of confidence. However, you have confidence in yourself, right? It doesn't matter, again, what anyone says, you will always see yourself rising above because the confidence you have is in you. It is all about the belief system. As a man thinks in his heart, and when I use the word man, it is not about gender, it is just male, human being, right? When you talk about gender, you talk about male and female. So as a human being thinks in their heart, so they are. It is in your thinking. It is how you think. This is how I came up with the concept of I Think Nigeria. Remember the whole I Think Nigeria movement, right? I regret not following up because this would have been a good time for that thing for us to continue that movement, Obi. And I will revisit that thing with serious prayer with that I Think Nigeria movement because it was in the thinking of how you think about the country, from the leaders to those who don't lead, who are following. For those of us who are citizens, the power of every nation is in the hands of its citizens. And when you start messing around with the citizens, you're calling for nothing but for an uprising. It happened in Egypt not too long ago. It happened in the UK not too long ago. The people will go to the streets. It happened here in America, where you saw not NSAS. What's this movement that just took place? The Me Too movement. You see it again when Black Lives Matter movement. These are when people have had enough of the same old crap, right? They arise and they begin to go forward to tell those who think they have control over them that you don't have control over us. It is the same concept I'm speaking to everyone who's listening to me now, that please, I beg you, keep hope alive and live. Stop shortchanging yourself. Yes, you are 50-something years old. I know a lot of guys that made their first major breakthroughs at that age. And for most people who are listening to me, you've done it before. You've succeeded before. If you can succeed before, you can do it again. That is my belief. That is completely my belief. You tried it the first time, you failed. Try again. You tried the second time again, you failed. Try again. You're not a failure, like we said last week. Keep on trying until you get to that point where you begin to believe in who you are. Get your belief system right. If your belief system is wrong, no matter how you squeeze the toothpaste will always come out of it. Whether you squeeze it from the top, you squeeze it from the bottom, it's going to give you toothpaste. But if there's something else inside of that thing that is not toothpaste, no matter how you squeeze it, that's how it's going to come out. So please, for all our audience listening from anywhere in the world, I ask you today, please begin to speak to yourself in the mirror and begin to believe yourself. No one can do it for you. You can never blame anyone. I've had some setbacks in my life that if I start talking about them, right? And for that reason alone, I know that you can always bounce back. I personally know that you can always bounce back. Even sometimes your setbacks are part of your setup.
Sure.
Woo! I don't know where that came from, but whatever it is, it's good. It's good. It's good. And someone is listening. And someone will listen. Because change is coming. You are there. You are in Canaan. Speak the language of the Canaanites. You are already arriving. Listen, the enemy has always played with our minds. It's always the battle of the mind. Because once he captures your mindset, it's all over. It's like those of us who are into programming, right? When you program something, I'm not very much big on the IT. All my friends will tell you that, right? But for those who are good at programming, when you program in something and you let it, it's over. No matter what you type, the result will always come up the other way.
Definitely.
So the enemy comes and speaks into your mind. If you buy into that thought, you're done. You're done. You're finished. No matter what somebody opportunity somebody gives to you, how much they give to you, the encouragement they give to you, how many times you go to church, how many times you watch things, it just tickles your emotions and you go back. Because what? Your belief system is faulty. And so for you to get the right belief system, you have to look at yourself and speak the word. The
Yeah.
word that your father gave to you, the word of truth. Even before you were born, I knew you. And I had set great and mighty plans for you. But even though you go through a state of brokenness, guess what? You're not shattered. Go ahead, Ogi.
So yeah. So you made a statement and you said it is the thing of the mind. And looking down of the things one of the guests one of our viewers posted, Kechi said your perspective of who you are in God leads us to our potentials.
That is
Now,
correct.
now, if you say it is a thing of the mind, it means you have to tackle it also with the things of the mind, and that speaks to
Correct.
what you feed your mind with. And like Kechi said, this is the another example of the thing of the mind that she's feeding herself with. Now she has come to find herself in God, and she has come to understand who she or who she is in God. I don't know if you're
Right.
getting what I'm trying to say. This is her perspective. This is what she have chosen to stay alive with. So you must find a positive thing that will feed your mind.
Yeah.
You must you must feed your mind positively to
Yeah.
stay. It has to
Yeah.
be a positive thing, yes.
And as
Because
and as
once you allow negativity to becloud your mind, it's over.
yeah. And as you feed your mind, you're feeding yourself. So you're empowering yourself, right? You're empowering yourself with the ultimate power of
Yes,
who you
who
are.
you are.
It doesn't matter who comes and goes. You still
Mm,
remain strong with yourself. Guess what? Your spouse will come, and guess what? Your spouse might choose to leave. I've gone
mm,
through it twice, right? Spouse comes and your spouse chooses to leave. So if you create your whole world around that spouse, you're done. Your friends will come, they will last a season and they will leave. New friends will come, they will last a season, they will leave. Even your own children will come, they will outgrow you and move on with their life. So at the end of the day, it's all about you and the God that created you. So you have to have something tangible to hold on to, something that you truly and honestly believe in. Because if you don't, people will define you.
exactly.
If you don't know who you are, people with their own mess and their own foolishness and their own shortcomings will redefine you. Knowingly or unknowingly. Obi, you got 1 more minute left, man. Let's wrap up. Your last words, man. Last words.
So I will always encourage people to keep hope alive. Um, you know, with that and um, with what is happening, I don't think I can just look away from what we're experiencing here in Nigeria. I want to advise and encourage my fellow youths and citizens to just keep hope alive. And now, one of the good things is once we can find one person who is honest, that is the light at the end of the tunnel. It means that one day things can get better and people can change. So let's keep the struggle, keep the energy, the spirit, and continue to fight for a good governance.
Wow. Thank you so much, Obi. And on behalf of us and the entire media team at Broken Not Shattered, um, we want to leave you with our three powerful words:
Yeah.
love,
Love,
peace,
peace.
peace, and grace. Take care. Hope to see you sometime soon. Next week, Sunday, we might have a guest in the house. But until then, stay strong and have a blessed and wonderful week. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you, buddy.